So I spoke with somebody today who was actually in the courtroom. I'm going to let you know everything that happened and the stuff they found on David's phone. We're talking about some child stuff with other victims. And I spoke with somebody in jail who's locked up with David. David is apparently trying to pay people off. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, cases that need a bigger spotlight, or just cases in general that need a deeper dive or a different type of look. Now, as you see, I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself, hence the name Fugitive TV. I ran from the law for 15 years after I committed some crimes, white collar crimes. And then after that, hey, I turned myself in, opened up a few businesses, started this YouTube channel. Now I help individuals locate family members. I help individuals outside of YouTube even locate other fugitives if they need to be brought to justice. And I do deeper dives into a lot of these cases that you find some other people don't. Now, because of what I did, I have some connections that in the jail, prison, underworld, just things like that other people might not have those connections with. Now, I've been doing a few videos lately on David because David, you know, his case, he just got arrested. All right. Now, if you guys don't know, I'll tell you real quick. David is the famous singer. OK, famous singer out of Houston, Texas, but he is currently living in Los Angeles, California. Well, currently he's in jail. Well, famous singer, if you want to say his genre of music, it's kind of mixed. Some people might say hip hop, some might say R&B. I consider none of that, but it's kind of like a mix of R&B and emo type of style of music, kind of his own. He blew up on Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite's the video game that a lot of kids are playing. So he blew up making music and showing it on Fortnite. Well, last September, they found a missing girl. She was only 14 years old at the time in the front of his Tesla, which is the front part of a Tesla. They found her. She was actually dismembered. She was chopped up in pieces. One bag had her head, her torso. I read the medical records yesterday. So in case you did not see the video, I actually read the full medical records yesterday. They said her skull was partially a skeleton, an eye was missing. It was bad, very bad. And even her limbs were chopped up in pieces in a separate bag. It was very bad. Okay. Now, in the case, I've done so much deep diving on David. I myself, if I was the prosecutor and I was in the courtroom, I myself can get him prosecuted and tried and convicted of just the evidence I have alone on him. Text messages with him and Celeste, text messages of him talking to other people, text messages from Celeste talking to other people about their encounters. And we're talking about their intimate encounters. Now, you got to remember, Celeste is underage. They started talking when she was only 11 years old. He met her on Fortnite at 11 and then met up with her in person right before she turned 13 years old. Okay. And he was about 18, 19 at the time. He's 21 now. Okay. 21 years old. Well, today he had his official arraignment. Okay. Official, a court hearing, whatever you guys want to call it. All right. Well, he shows up in court and there's a people in court. Now, they allowed media. They also allowed a couple content creators that were in there too. And this is what was told to me. Now, during the court hearing, they were talking about the evidence that needs to be sent over to the defense. The defense has not got all the evidence. And here's the reason why. They have so much digital evidence. It is ridiculous. I believe it was 43 bytes or 42 bytes, or I'm sorry, 42 or 43 terabytes of data, you guys. If you guys, all right, just to picture this, that is like downloading 10,000 movies onto a USB drive. And now you have to go through all 10,000 movies, all right, on the USB drive. That is how I can, so for you guys that don't know, you know, what terabytes are, that's the best way I can put it. So imagine somebody giving you a USB stick and saying you have to go through 10,000 movies. Imagine how many days that will take you. Imagine how many, maybe even months that will take you. Okay. Now, if you have a job, now this, let's say this is your full-time job. I mean, you're going to do this 24/7. So that's how many terabytes of data they have on him. Now, this terabytes of data is a mixture of his cloud, phone, text messages, screenshots, pictures, text from other individuals, and things like that, which we're going to get into the other individuals. And so let's get to the other individuals now. Before all this happened, they had a grand jury at the end of last year. Now, come to find out, it was different grand juries, okay? Now, there was people who didn't want to go to the grand jury. One was one of his friends. I believe his name is Neo the Asian is what he goes by, or Asian the Neo. I believe it was Neo the Asian. Correct me below what he goes by. But he didn't go, and they put a warrant out for his arrest to force him to go to court to testify in a grand jury. Now, we were all wondering what's going on. Well, here's what happened. My source tells me that one of the reasons why they did this grand jury is because they had witnesses. The witnesses did not want to talk to LAPD or detectives. They were keeping their mouths shut because they don't have to force them to talk. So technically they were doing a smart move, as in I'm not talking. One of the reasons why I'm not talking is because I can, implicate myself in this crime and get in trouble, because you can. If you told the LAPD or detectives, hey, yeah, I was talking to Davis about what he did with Celeste, and you didn't report the crime, now you could be a witness to the crime, which means they can charge you. So they're keeping their mouths shut. All right. Not only that, David and Celeste had a romantic relationship, and David was known to take Celeste to parties, concerts around other people. So other people saw them together. So if you didn't report this, they can charge you. So what they did, the prosecution did, was they held a grand jury. And when they held this grand jury, what that did was force witnesses to testify. They subpoenaed them. And then on top of that, allegedly forced them immunity. Get where I'm saying now? So they forced them to come to court, and in exchange, if you come to court, it's not no if, you have to come to court. We're going to cut you a deal. We're going to cut you some sort of immunity. All right. Meaning that if you tell us what's going on, your time will either be lessened or you might not get no time. Now, if you guys been following my other video, I think my last video, I broke down what a proffer agreement was. I broke that down. A lot of people don't know what this is. Proffer agreement is AKA queen for a day, meaning that day, you could say whatever happened, even if you unalive 30 people, okay? If they give you a proffer agreement, which is queen for a day, you can tell them everybody you unalive. You can tell them all your crimes and everything else. And the agreement, if you guys work on it properly, you don't get no jail time. None whatsoever. But in exchange, guess what, guys? You can never talk about this again. Meaning you can't sell no books. You can't write no movies. There's no Netflix deals, no Tubi deals. There's no Amazon coming at your door. There's none of this. You can never talk about it again. You can't bring it up to a friend. You have to keep your mouth shut. All right. There's a lot of people who got in trouble over this. They got a proffer agreement and AKA queen for a day. And in their head, they thought they had immunity, so they went on and wrote books, went on and got in trouble. Prime example, Keefe D, the person that's going to trial right now over the Tupac situation, okay? The Tupac Red Rum, because here in the small channel, we can't say the M-U-R-D-E-R word because the video might get flagged, the channel can't get flagged. So until then, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications. I am almost at 25,000 subscribers. Thank you, you guys. So until then, please help me subscribe, and then I can start taking the filter off on some of these words. But until then, I have to dance around it. So sorry, my apologies now. Well, for the Tupac unaliving, Keefe D is right now going to trial over that. They offered him a proffer agreement, a queen for a day. He told everything that happened to Tupac that day. Everything. He said he was in the car. He passed the weapon over to another guy, the weapon, and then they pulled up to Tupac's car or Suge Knight's car and they shot through the window in Vegas. And that's how Tupac passed away. He told the whole story. Now, everybody who was inside the car with Keefe D is no longer here. They either passed away or they were unalived by somebody themselves. Every single body, the only person alive in that car right now is Keefe D. So he's the only one that can get tried and go to jail and get sentenced over this. So if he would have kept his mouth shut, he would still be living like a free man right now. But he decided to write a book, and now he's facing trial and execution and the jury and everything else over the Tupac situation. So I don't know if they gave these guys a proffer agreement or individual, okay? But once I found this out, and I already brought this up to you guys in either a prior video or 2 videos before, I said a proffer agreement is probably what they did. It makes sense. So they were forced to testify. This is one of the reasons why it took so long to arrest David. Nobody wanted to talk. Nobody wanted to snitch. So they had to do this to force people to testify. And not only that, in court today, it came out that, hey, his phone was wiretapped. Guys, his phone was wiretapped. Now, wiretap is not like you saw in the movies back in the day where they actually have a wire. It doesn't work that way. Now, the way a wiretap works is, first of all, they have to get a search warrant. So they have to get a search warrant, which means they had to have evidence to get this search warrant. So the evidence probably was from somebody telling or somebody snitching, whatever you want to call it. They got the evidence, gave it to the judge signs off on the search warrant. And in return, what they do is go to that phone company. So for example, let's say David's using T-Mobile. They show T-Mobile the search warrant. Hey, we have a search warrant to wiretap his phone. Now what they do is everything that goes through his phone is intercepted. It's like the law or police are the middleman now, okay? So let's say this is David's phone, right? You have the cell tower, you have T-Mobile. So a lot of times the way it works is if David gets a text message or sends a text message, it goes to the cell phone tower and then relays to T-Mobile. It kind of goes like that. And you have the cell phone tower in the middle, whatever, Well, now law enforcement, this is the best way I can describe it to make this simple and plain. Now, law enforcement, what they do is they become a middleman. All right. So any phone calls or text messages, what happens, it goes from David's phone to the cell phone tower, now to law enforcement. Okay. And now possibly to T-Mobile. So they're able to listen to his calls in real time, record his calls in real time, see text messaging too. Now, they always can't see pictures, okay? For pictures, they have to do what is called a forensic dump, all right? Where it's pretty much like they go into the cloud and all the pictures get dumped off into another system that they can look at. Well, this is most likely how they tapped his phone. And including or with this phone tap, guess what, guys? Guess what they got? If you haven't heard this already. Child P. Like I said, I got to dance around words. Ography. Okay? Is what they got off his phone. I myself know for a fact David's phone text messaging, Celeste was not the only victim. I told you I spoke with a victim's parent. So on this phone with the pornography stuff, all right, other victims allegedly are on the phone, not just Celeste, all right? That right there is going to send him to prison, send him to jail. Soon as they bring that up in the trial, the jury is already not going to like him. Who likes somebody holding that stuff on their phone? All right. So they're already not going to like him. It's a mixture of videos and pictures and communication with victims of people underage, describing certain things and talking about certain things. I told you I even have text messages from Celeste. All right. And I told you guys in my last video, I said I myself submitted evidence. I am not going to sit here scared of it. I myself submitted evidence. You know why? Because I don't play like that. When it comes to children and harm, I'm sorry. No good in my book. You have to go down. You got to go down. I will send that off real quick. Oh, no, I found this. Oh, let me send this off. So I don't know if anything I sent will be you. I have no idea. But I do know that is what they found on his phone. A mixture of cloud and everything else with the wiretap on the phone. So now that you guys know how a wiretap on the phone works, I spoke with somebody as well that is in LA County Jail. Now, I am originally from Los Angeles. I born and raised, was in Los Angeles. I live in Florida now, been here for years, but I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. So I have a lot of family members there and family members of people, unfortunately, who are in jail, getting in trouble, all kind of things ever, right? Because a lot of the neighborhoods I grew up in and stuff like that. But this individual told me that David is apparently, allegedly trying to pay other inmates off for some sort of protection. Now, there are some inmates, okay, who are trying to take advantage of this. All right, they're trying to take advantage of this. So there are some inmates that are like, all right, you want to pay us off, you know, as in putting books on the commissary, as in maybe he might order extra commissary and give them some. Now, he is in segregation. All right. Segregation usually means he's on a 23-hour lockdown, all right, in a cell by himself. So he should be getting an hour out per day to use the phone, work out, whatever he would shower, things like that, all right? So they do have him in segregation, aka protective custody, which they do put a lot of PDF files in, or people who are prime witnesses that need to go testify. They're all in there. I've never been in LA County Jail, so I don't know how many wards are in there. I've never asked, but he is most likely in one of those wards. But because you're in a 23-hour lockdown, segregation does not mean you can't get touched, people. I've seen people firsthand get touched in segregation. And this is usually how they do it. Court transportation, because when they transport you, a lot of times you'll get transported either with somebody else, or they're walking you through a hallway. You might have security there with you, guards, but they're walking you through a hallway and you're passing by other inmates. So there are ways for inmates to get you even when you're in segregation. There's a few more other ways besides that. Well, what I was told is that there's some people waiting in line because he is a target in there. He's a target for what is going on, for first of all, for what he did, allegedly what he did, okay? Second of all, because think about it, the guy's famous. He didn't even get arrested right away. If they found somebody chopped up in my car, I would have been arrested within an hour. And we all know this. You guys watching this, you too. You probably been arrested right away. All of us, right? So a lot of people are jealous over that. Rich and famous, first of all, the guy had everything. He had everything going for him and decided to do this. There's people in jail that would kill for his opportunity, and he wasted it on what he was doing. So he has a target on his back right now. So they have to be extra careful, as in security guards, jail have to be extra careful. I'm going to continue to monitor this. I'm going to continue to speak with people who are inside, locked up in there. This is one of the advantages you get with my channel because, hey, I talk with these people still, all right? And they help me out. They do. They help me out. And they know the situation I come from, and they know what I'm trying to do, all right? And they know that. And not only that, some of these people are in my corner cheering me on, hoping that I succeed, all right? So I'm using that to my advantage. I'm going to continue talking with the person in court as well that's going to court with this trial. and let you guys know everything, all right? But I figure I give you guys this little bit of tidbits, this information about what they found on his phone, exactly probably how they found it. And not only that, there's some key people who were forced immunity, allegedly. I don't know exactly who was forced immunity. I can't tell you that because I don't know off the top of my hand. But if you've been following this case and you've been following all along, you probably can figure it out, all right? But there were people there with David, and allegedly, David was talking with people on the phone about this, sending text messages back and forth. There's a picture I showed you on my front video that I got from Julia. I wonder who's is this makeup on his face? What's going on here? What's going on here? I don't know. You guys let me know. But please like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications, okay? Let me know below where you're watching this from, city and state. I try to interact with everybody who leaves a comment on my channel. I always will, and that's me, all right? So I always try and interact with everybody. I try. Please like and subscribe. The membership, join that below. That's the way you can support the channel. I do membership only videos. And please take care of one another. Love one another. Watch out for your surroundings. Look out at your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.